So Omar, I've got to ask, what originally appealed to Indosuez and made you want to support 7 Clean Seas roof tile project? And how does this fit into your wider sustainability initiative?
Yeah, thanks very much, Thomas, with pleasure. But first, before answering to that, let me just describe a little bit who we are and what's Indosuez. So Indosuez is a wealth management arm of Crédit Agricole Group, which is the 9th largest group in the world. And the raison d'être, as we said in French, of Crédit Agricole Group stands for working every day in the interest of our customers and society. And that logo, or that raison d'être, drives obviously many things in our organization, the strategy and a lot of our activities and actions. And it's also behind the Indosuez wealth management objectives in terms of sustainable development, in terms of CSR, all those areas. And on the CSR more specifically, our idea is to have approach on 3 areas. One is to work on the climate side into moving to a more low carbon area. The second one is to work on more social inclusion and cohesion. And the third one is to support projects which are in terms of transition, in terms of innovations into transition. And when you look at our approach and our ideas, and you put then 7 Clean Seas on the other side, the fit is quite perfect. Because when you look at the mission of your organization, and let's put more specifically the project around the roof tiles, it's perfect because it fits the innovation part, it fits the support in terms of community as well, and then obviously the social and the environmental development. So that's the reason that really we thought it was a perfect project for us to participate and hopefully continue to be there with you guys.
Fantastic, thank you for the support.
Tom, maybe a question on my side then. How did you define the feasibility of that plastic for the specific purpose of the roof tiles?
It's a really good question. And to be honest with you, to zoom out a little bit, people see us as an ocean cleanup organization. Of course, we're pulling out huge amounts of plastic every single day from the ocean, but what we do with that plastic is equally as important. We need to guarantee it remains out of the marine environment. And in our mind, we want to be able to put that back into the circular economy. But to go a step further, how do we generate as much environmental impact and social impact as possible? Now, yes, we're paying people formally and fairly for working here at 7 Clean Seas, and we're focusing on the environment at the same time. But there is a big list, I think, of challenges in the communities that we do operate. And one that I identified quite early on was this kind of proliferation of using asbestos in their roofs. I actually spoke to my general manager of Indonesia on my first trip to Pulau Setokok, where we were today and where we have the pilot. And I remember touching it, and I was looking at it, and I was like, what is this material? And then they told me asbestos. And I could hardly believe that everybody was just looking at me completely plain-faced and telling me that this was an asbestos roof, completely unprotected from the elements. And I went through this kind of explanation of why asbestos is harmful and can be kind of really carcinogenic in the grand scheme of things. And it really surprised all my staff. And that was the moment I realized that it really hasn't been regulated to the point that perhaps it should be here, and there are completely innocent families living in this environment. Now, yes, we're here to clean up that environment, the ocean environment, and provide jobs, but I wanted to do something else. And then it was a case of, okay, well, how do we recreate this product? Corrugated roof sheet is a very old solution. It's a very old product. It's usually made out of tin, more recently asbestos, sadly. And we've gone through this process of trying to find the best product from a material perspective. It actually started out trying to make them out of polypropylene, which is the little drinks containers and food pots. And we had limited success, and we kept trying different polymers, and that's when we came across kind of LDPE, so shopping bags. It's this, when it's in the format of a bag, it's very thin, very flexible, very light, but when you put it in a lump of material, it becomes very strong, very stable, very good in an outdoor environment, and also moldable. So we've gone through a process of testing to really perfect the solution to get it to the point where we can cast it into a corrugated shape. And you know, here we are today, maybe 6 months after the project kicked off, having moved all the way from conception through to our first house being delivered. And for the people watching, you won't know this, we went down today and we visited that house, and it was a torrential monsoon. And I'm so happy to report that the roof held up fantastically. It was waterproof, and I think it is a great material, and it is so much better for the environment and for the health of these families than the asbestos that they're using. So I guess with that said, I mean, what are your hopes in terms of generating impact and positively affecting the community and the families of Setokok with this project that you've so generously funded?
Yeah, thanks, Tom. Honestly, when we read about the project initially, we kind of had lots of, ideas on how that project could help the community. But as you said it earlier, there is nothing better than seeing properly. And thanks to you guys and the visit what we did today to the location and to really see it, I can see that on one side, obviously, we take something like plastic that would have been anyway wasted in nature and make something useful out of it.
Yeah.
Then secondly, you see and you really see that can be used for a specific purpose for difficult communities and make their houses safer, stronger. So it really has a specific utility.
Of course.
And thirdly, what I like and what we like as well is that this project is a long-term project. Mm-hmm. It's not a project only for one specific house or one specific place. It has a long-term sustainable approach with very big objectives, hopefully, of helping a larger number of people in the community, a larger number of houses. And this is also something that I think we do appreciate very much in that project.
Amazing.
Tom, so now if you look at more from a broader, bigger picture in terms of local community, local economy, what kind of benefit do you see out of those kind of projects?
I've got to say there's a few different main points that I look at and I hope for when we're looking at this specific project, and also the innovation that this will spur in that next layer of products that we might be able to build in a similar way. The first is obviously the environmental benefit. We're taking material out of nature where it's causing enormous amounts of harm, and we're turning it into a product that is genuinely helping people from a health perspective. The pilot house that we visited today, a very young family, cute little kids running around everywhere, and it is, they're not unique. There's a lot of families in this scenario, and I think we can help them from from an economic perspective, because they don't have to necessarily spend their money on replacing their asbestos roof with another asbestos roof, but then of course from that health impact as well. Now, this is just one little house at the moment. It's going to be a much bigger project as we scale it up throughout Setokok and Batam, but just zoom out from Batam and zoom out from Indonesia. How many places around the world have temporary housing, temporary shelter, and have waste, but are lacking materials to build the houses and to really support themselves? It could be any number of different kind of living environments. And I think a solution like this, if we can show the world how this works and how to recreate this successfully, it can be used from everything from disaster relief to helping people replace low quality housing in informal communities like slums, for example. So to wrap things up from my side, I've got a really important question, which is what's next for Indosuez when it comes to supporting sustainable projects like this?
Yep. So as we mentioned earlier, we have a foundation called Indosuez Foundation. It exists since 12 years. And the main target for Indosuez Foundation has been to support vulnerable communities by helping innovative projects in various areas. Again, as we mentioned earlier, sustainable development, social cohesion, education. So first objective is to continue on that side and make sure that we continue to deliver support to that kind of initiatives. Indosuez Foundation is also a strong support from many of our own employees. Many of our employees are involved in the project. They are the one selecting, they're the one proposing the project, they're the one selecting the project, they're the one monitoring. So that's also very important for us to be fully integrated. We have already done a certain number of projects. 7 Clean Seas is one of them. Just to give some additional example, over the couple of last years, we supported projects in Brazil, in Nepal, in Philippines, in Singapore actually, and it goes from helping a community to create a microcredit cooperative, helping women to become more independent financially, to putting solar panels on an orphanage or giving them computers, and so many different type of projects. I hope that with those small or different contribution and collaboration with I would say organizations such as yours, we can make an impact in all those great areas, and especially again help the vulnerable communities around the world.
Amazing. And I've got to say as well, I really like how your staff who are working at Indosuez have the opportunity to put projects forward. I've got to give a special shout out to Jensen, who's just off camera as well, for finding 7 Clean Seas and bringing us the opportunity that has resulted in this collaboration. It's kind of having champions in organizations like this that really is the success behind many of our corporate partnerships and philanthropic partnerships. So massive thank you on that front for both of you. And I'm very excited for the future. If there is ever an opportunity to collaborate with some of the other organizations that you support as well, if you think that our knowledge, our expertise could ever be of value to them, don't think twice about giving us a call and connecting us.
Great. Thanks again for welcoming us.
Of course. Anytime.
Thank you.